Your brain at death. Death is inevitable, but what happens in your brain in those final moments? Is consciousness completely gone the instant your heart stops, or is there a final surge of awareness, a last flicker of your mind? The human brain is an electrical organ, producing thousands of signals every second. Even minutes before death, neurons fire, processing memories, emotions, and sensory input. The brain does not shut down instantly, it slowly transitions, like a storm fading into silence. When the heart stops, blood flow ceases. Oxygen drops, and neurons begin to die. Yet, studies show that the brain can remain active for several minutes. In those moments, the mind may replay memories, generate vivid experiences, or even create near-death visions. Many who have survived clinical death report near-death experiences, tunnels of light, feelings of peace, or encounters with deceased loved ones. Neuroscientists suggest these are caused by oxygen deprivation, surges of brain chemicals, and hyperactivation of the visual cortex. Studies on dying brains show bursts of gamma waves, the same waves linked to memory recall and heightened awareness. It's as if the brain is replaying your life in its final moments, a mental highlight reel, compressed into seconds. Death triggers massive chemical changes. Endorphins flood the brain, producing euphoria. Glutamate surges can trigger hallucinations. Combined with fading oxygen, this explains near-death visions, bright lights, and out-of-body sensations. Eventually, neurons stop firing. Electrical activity fades into silence. This moment is clinically death, yet some researchers argue awareness may linger, in a final, unobservable mental state. In experiments with animals, scientists observe brain surges seconds after cardiac arrest. This suggests that a final surge of activity is not unique to humans. The brain may fight against death in a last display of energy. Philosophers and neuroscientists debate whether consciousness truly ends at death. Some theories propose a residual, non-local awareness. While we cannot measure it, brain activity patterns hint at profound, fleeting awareness just before shutdown. Across cultures, death is interpreted differently. Many see the final moments as a spiritual journey, a passage to another realm. Science may explain the mechanics, but the subjective experience remains deeply personal. Neuroscience shows that when oxygen drops, the brain preferentially activates areas responsible for memory. This may be why near-death survivors describe vivid flashbacks, the mind's final attempt to process a lifetime in moments. Dying brains may experience a distorted sense of time. Some near-death survivors report life flashing before their eyes, but in reality, brain imaging suggests their perception expands, not contracts. In those moments, seconds stretch into eternity. In rare cases, loved ones claim to feel a presence or vision at the exact moment someone dies, even across distance. Could this be coincidence, or a shared neural resonance? Science struggles to measure empathy at the edge of life. Terminal patients often describe vivid, comforting dreams before passing, reunions with loved ones, light, peace. Neurologically, it may be dopamine and endorphins easing fear. Psychologically, perhaps it's the mind's final act of mercy. Out-of-body sensations are common. Some patients report floating above their body, observing resuscitation efforts. This may be caused by altered vestibular processing in the dying brain, combined with reduced sensory input. EEG studies show increased gamma waves just after clinical death. Gamma waves are associated with consciousness, suggesting that awareness may peak briefly as the brain shuts down. A last, intense flicker before silence. Even after brain death, electrical echoes ripple through neurons, faint surges known as neural afterglows. Scientists believe these are the final signatures of consciousness fading. But others suggest they could be something more, the last whisper of the self before dissolving into silence. Death isn't instant. While the heart stops and the brain goes quiet, millions of cells continue to function for hours, clinging to chemical balance, performing their duties in isolation. This cellular persistence blurs the line between alive and gone. Some researchers, like Sir Roger Penrose, propose that consciousness arises from quantum processes within brain microtubules. If true, could these quantum states linger beyond death, momentarily preserving awareness? Science hasn't proven it, but the question remains tantalizing. With modern technology, the boundary of death shifts. Machines can restart hearts, oxygenate brains, and even store memories digitally. As we inch closer to reviving consciousness, we must ask, when does dying truly end? In a world of data and memory uploads, could our digital footprints outlive us, a kind of ghost made of code? The dying brain's data patterns might one day be reconstructed, blurring the line between mind and machine. Understanding what happens in the brain at death teaches us about life, memory, consciousness, and the fragility of the human experience. It reminds us to live fully, because the mind's final moments are as precious as any other. Death may be inevitable, but the brain's journey at the end is extraordinary. If you want to explore more mysteries of the mind, consciousness, and life itself, subscribe and hit the bell. Dive deeper into the unknown, because understanding the brain helps us understand ourselves. Studying death changes how we live. Each neuron's final spark reminds us that awareness is fragile and precious. Perhaps death's greatest lesson is not what ends, but what still connects us all, the curiosity of being. The moment you die isn't just an end, it's a revelation of what it means to exist at all. Thank you for joining us in exploring the unknown. This is Why Curio, where curiosity never sleeps. In the final seconds of consciousness, many report a strange calm, as if something deep within accepts what's coming. Monitors show a brief synchronization of brain waves, almost musical in pattern, a fleeting harmony before silence. Some scientists call it the theta release, the mind's last rhythm before it fades. If consciousness truly ends with the brain, where do the stories go? Every memory, every laugh, every fear, does it simply vanish or transform? Physics tells us energy cannot be destroyed, only changed. Perhaps awareness follows the same law, reshaping itself into something we can't yet perceive. Maybe the question isn't what happens when we die, but what dying reveals about living. The fear, the peace, the surrender, each one mirrors how we've experienced life itself. In the end, the moment of death may not be an ending at all, but a mirror held up to existence, asking one final question: what does it mean to be aware? When the last spark fades and the brain falls silent, something extraordinary happens, not in the world, but in those left behind. The silence that follows a heartbeat is not emptiness, it's memory, echo, connection. The energy once bound to thought now ripples outward, in the stories we tell, the lives we touch, the curiosity we leave behind. Science may one day map every neuron, every firing pattern, every final flash of light. But what it cannot capture is the mystery that lingers after, the quiet that gives meaning to sound, the stillness that defines life itself. Maybe that's the truth of dying, not disappearance, but transformation. A return to the same cosmic rhythm that once birthed awareness. And in that stillness, after thought, after body, after time, curiosity remains. Waiting. Listening. This has been Why Curio, where curiosity never sleeps, not even in silence.